We want you to meet WA's newest politician today, a member of the state's Legislative Council, who will in the coming weeks take his place among the plush red leather seats of the upper house and begin to draw that wage of about $156,000 a year as a representative of the mining and pastoral region of WA. His name is Wilson Tucker, and he holds the dubious distinction of winning his seat without being in the state during the entire state election campaign. Instead, he was living in the US, in the city of Seattle, in Washington. His other claim to fame is that despite polling only 98 votes, yes, you heard that correctly, 98 votes, he won his spot thanks to preference harvesting deals that were done with other minor parties. It's sort of politics' version of creative accounting, but it's worked and worked very well for Wilson Tucker, and he now takes his daylight saving party to the Parliament of WA. He's soon coming back here to WA, thankfully, to take up the job, and he joins us from Seattle this morning, or this evening, your time. Wilson, good morning to you.
Good morning, Liam. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? You're a politician now. Does it feel any different?
Not yet. I'm sure the reality of becoming a politician will hit me once I'm sworn in.
When will you be sworn in, Wilson?
It's a good question, and to answer it, I'm not really sure. I've heard mid-May being thrown around, so I'm planning on coming back to Perth as soon as I can and navigating the quarantine and being on the ground and ready.
And ready to go. Okay, so you haven't got any sort of office infrastructure organised or administration organised or anything like that yet?
Not yet, no. The result was confirmed, I believe, on Thursday, and obviously it's been the Easter weekend, so just waiting on the details. I've had a few people reaching out to take up advisory roles, but the other logistics will need to be ironed out very shortly.
How does that work in terms of you being able to employ others in the office? What sort of allowances do they give to the members?
Yeah, look, I can't really comment on it too much because I don't know the details, but there will be a number of staff sort of allocated to members of the upper house to advise them on policy and legislation and try and make their lives a little bit easier. So I've spoken to a few other members who have sat and looking to fill the role. Obviously, not coming from a political background, I'll certainly be trying to leverage their expertise and their experience to advise me, certainly in the first few months.
Not coming from a political background, but you've got a little bit running in the family. I know your brother tried to get a seat at one stage, didn't he, at the last election?
He did. So we ran. My brother's the secretary of the Daylight Saving Party. We ran him as a candidate in the South Metro region. In the 2017 election, we ran in all regions, and we did the same in this election.
But with much better results.
Yeah, much more positive result. The system is certainly stacked against the minor and the micro parties. We obviously don't have the resources of some of the bigger guys. So whenever there is a result that is favourable to a minor party, it comes as a shock and a surprise. And this is where we're seeing a little bit of backlash from Labor around potential reform. I mean, the last state election, 2017, the Liberal Democrats, who you could consider a minor party, were successful, and they picked up a seat in a similar preference arrangement strategy that we employed. Only this time, we did it on a much smaller primary vote, and hence the backlash. There was certainly talk about reform last time, didn't happen. Whether there's appetite for it from Labor this time, I guess we'll find out.
Wilson, on that subject, I mean, your party got 0.2%. That's 0.2% of the vote, and you still got a seat. And it's intriguing mathematics, but is it very democratic?
Look, I think so. It allows for minor and micro parties to actually have a chance. And like I said, the odds are certainly stacked against us. And if we look at the result with Labor, I mean, it was an absolute landslide victory, and they control the upper and the lower house. And if this system right now gives the smaller guys a chance to actually make it to the upper house, and it allows for diversity and a fresh set of eyes, if you like, on the upper bench, the cross bench in the upper house, trying to keep Labor honest. There's obviously a lot of career politicians there who will just be towing the party line and having diversity of thought and opinion, and someone from a different background is certainly in line with democratic values.
But when you say it gave your guys a chance, the little guy a chance, wasn't it really about the deal that you did, the deal that was stitched up with this guy who calls himself the preference whisperer? How much will you have to pay him?
Look, you'll have to talk to Glenn about that. I'm not here to really confirm numbers. Glenn did pay a part, but certainly there was a lot of hard work by myself and the party to put us in this position.
You're sounding like a politician already, Wilson.
Thank you. I'm trying.
You are. Your region. So when we talk about democracy, let's look at it like this. The region that you're helping to represent is the most anti-daylight saving region in the entire state, mining and pastoral. Do you think the voters there would be happy?
Look, so historically, rural areas have been opposed to daylight saving. There are certainly a lot of myths around when it comes to daylight saving. We're not here to add daylight. We're just here to give more time in the afternoons when you can enjoy it. The curtains won't fade. The cows will adapt. It's really around changing people's opinions on the issue, and that's something I'll certainly be trying to do. We did have a referendum in 2018 on daylight saving. It was only marginally defeated by 54% against. So it's been 12 years, and since then there's been a demographic shift in the people of WA, and a higher concentration in metro areas that are historically for daylight saving. So I think WA is ready.
But we've had 4 referendums, not just the recent one, 4 of them, and they've all said no. You are one person within a lot of people in Parliament, Wilson. So let's be honest about this. You single-handedly have absolutely no chance of getting daylight saving up. So what's the point of having a seat?
Look, it will be tough. Obviously, with Labor controlling the government, it will be tough. I'm not going to lie about that.
Tough.
Look, first and foremost, my job will be to represent the people of.
Tough's not the word. Tough. That's like that's the Monty Python Knight saying, "Come back and fight fair."
Look, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm certainly not going to back down. If we can't legislate daylight saving, then look, so be it. First and foremost, my focus will be to serve the people of mining and pastoral to the best of my ability.
What were you doing during the election in Seattle?
I was working. So I'm working for a major tech company over here, and I was wasn't really twiddling my thumbs. I was also running a social media campaign. Given the size of mining and pastoral region, it's over 2 million square kilometres. It does present logistical challenges around campaigning and having boots on the ground. And obviously, being a micro party, we don't really have the resources to have people up there and door knocking. So we were certainly active online and on social media to try and better our chances. Remotely
active.
Remotely, yes. We do have. So we have a party. Obviously, we have members of that party and who are based in WA, and we have committee members as well. So they they were active. It's just the fact that I was not quite based there at the time.
Okay. I wanted to, check your other policies to see if you had any other policies you can offer the good people of mining and pastoral, but you haven't got a website either, so I couldn't check that. Have you got any?
Look, we'll certainly be expanding our policy as we are a new party. We're obviously in this position very recently, so we will be looking to expand out our policy, and certainly we'll be able to communicate that more specifically at a later date. More broadly, Indigenous welfare and closing the gap for Indigenous Australians is a big issue affecting regional communities, and this will certainly be on the agenda. Homelessness, climate change, sustainable mining are all areas we'll certainly be taking a look at as well. Daylight saving itself is aligned with health and lifestyle issues, and again, that'll be another area that we'll be focusing on.
Okay. Well, closing the gap. What did you mention? Closing the gap and the green policies. You mentioned climate change. I mean, they're all federal issues. What about state issues? What about the health crisis?
I mean, I think reform and change starts at the state level and it trickles up. So, yes, I mean, a lot of these are federal, but they can also be affected at the state level. So we'll be certainly looking at this policy as it comes across the desk, but I'm not really in a position to sort of comment right now.
But, winning all those years in the upper house at $156,000 a year, how are you feeling about that at the moment? I mean, is it like winning the lotto, or do you have a little bit of a guilty conscience for sort of getting across the line?
Look, not really. And to be honest with you, I'm working in the US. I'm a software engineering manager, and it would be a pay cut to come back. But certainly it is a good opportunity to represent the people of the mining and pastoral region, and it's obviously a potentially a once in a lifetime opportunity. So more than happy to take it, and very humbled to be in this position.
So you're happy to leave your American life behind you and stay here for the duration?
Yes. So look, I've spent a few years over here, but I was born in Geraldton. I grew up. I spent a few years in Carnarvon when I was younger. I spent some time in Bunbury in high school, and I moved to Perth to go to university. So, look, I was born in WA. I've grown up there. It's always my home. Even now, I still consider Perth and WA my home. And I was always planning on coming back. Obviously, being in this position now, it's kind of forced my hand a little bit to come back early, but I'm very happy to be coming back and to serving the people of Western Australia.
Well, I suppose your victory means that it's good news for anyone who aspires to be a politician, because literally anyone can be a politician, Wilson.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's a good thing. Having diversity of opinion and thought in the upper house and in the lower house and in WA Parliament is a good thing.
I'm still struggling to understand how you're going to hold the government to account, though, with the numbers that we're talking about. Look,
it'll be tough. We'll certainly be working with Labor to the best of our abilities. I think having constructive arguments and a viewpoint backed by data, then hopefully we can see eye to eye on policy and advocate for daylight savings and represent the interests of the mining and the people in the mining and pastoral region.
But just finally, Wilson, how long have you been in Seattle?
I've been here 3 years.
3 years. So are you really familiar with what's happening in WA at all?
I will certainly be coming back and trying to get more exposure into what is happening. I've been traveling back to Perth and WA quite often. Obviously, with the pandemic, it's been a little bit more challenging. But certainly, when I do get back, I'll be spending a lot of time traveling to towns, remote communities in the mining and pastoral region, and talking to people to get a sense of the pain points and the challenges they're facing.
Gee, I certainly hope so, because you definitely signed up for the job.
Exactly.
Wilson, thanks for talking to us today. We appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, Liam.
Wilson Tucker there. He is WA's newest politician, but he's in Seattle, in Washington, but heading here soon. So he can get sworn in and start taking that money on a taxpayer dime and get used to the conditions and find out what's bothering people in the mining and pastoral region. I reckon he'll be about as popular as the proverbial in the mining and pastoral region. Daylight saving, I was going to say candidate, daylight saving member. The member for daylight saving. Incredible. 922 is our talkback number. Love to hear from you this morning. 22 minutes past 10 on the morning program.